Okay, we're on lesson 4.1. It's got a really fancy name. It's called Applying GCF and LCM to Fraction Operations. This video is actually going to be pages 79 and the top of page 80. Okay? So we're going to multiply fractions here. That's basically what we're going to do. We're going to multiply fractions, and we're going to read on how to do it. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to show you the examples at the bottom, even though they're already in the book. And then we're going to try 6 problems on the very next page. So let's check this out. All right, so sometimes I think too much reading overcomplicates things. I'm going to highlight the important stuff. In order to multiply fractions, you multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator, and you end up with a numerator and a denominator that often needs to be simplified. How do you simplify? You divide by the greatest common factor. So all of that, what I just did right there, we're going to go do at the bottom of the page. I will remind you of that. You can always look in this. You can always read this right here if you want more explanation. But I'm trying to simplify it for you as best I can. So let's check out questions A and B. I know the answers are there, but let me show you the way I would do it. So I'm going to cover up this stuff. Let me show you the way I would do it. So I'm going to copy down A. It's 1/3 times 3/5. And I multiply my numerator times my numerator. 1 times 3 equals 3. That's easy. And I multiply my denominators, and I get 15. And then I remind myself that I need to simplify. 3 and 15 share a factor of 3. The greatest common factor of 3 and 15 is 3. So I divide by the greatest common factor. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. The answer is 1/5. I just did all the steps I highlighted at the above. I multiply my numerator by my numerator, my denominator by my denominator, and then I simplify by dividing by the greatest common factor. Let's go check out 6/7 times 2/3. I multiply my numerators. 6 times 2 is 12. And 7 times 3 is 21. I ask myself if 12 and 21 share a factor. They do. 12 and 21 share a factor of 3, which means they're both divisible by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and that is the correct answer. Now, under this whiteboard box that I made, the question B, the book shows you a slightly different way to solve this, which I do think you need to be aware of how to do, but I'm not ready to show you that. I'm going to show you that on the slightly more complicated problems on page 80. So what I want you to do now is immediately turn to page 80. We're going to keep this video going. We're going to immediately turn to page 80, and we're going to do the top 6, the 6 problems at the top of the page. And then I'll make a new video for the bottom of the page. We're on the your turn, the top of page 80. All right, so what I want you to do here is I want you to try, especially like the first 4. 5 and 6 get a little bit more complicated, but especially like the first 4 problems I want you to try using the same method we just did. I'm going to do the same thing we just did. Multiply my numerators, multiply my denominators, simplify. When we get to 5 and 6, I'm going to show you a slightly different strategy. If you want to try this without the video, go ahead and hit pause. If you want to try it with the video, that's fine too. All right, so number 1. Number 1 is 1/6 times 3/5. Multiply my numerators, I get 1 times 3, that's 3. And 6 times 5, that's 30. Do 3 and 30 share a factor? They do. They're each divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 30 divided by 3 is 10. The answer is 1/10. I want you to be real careful here that the answer is not 3/30ths, because you were expected to write the answer in simplest form. So if you're writing your answers and they're not simplified, then they're incorrect. You have to get the most correct answer, not just any answer that kind of works. You have to get the most correct answer. All right, number 2 is 3/4 times 7/9. If I multiply my numerators, I get 3 times 7, that's 21. And 4 times 9, that's 36. And this will be a good review on factors. If you forgot that 21 and 36 share a factor, it's a good thing to remember. 21 divided by 3 and 36 divided by 3. The common factor of 21 and 36 is 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. The answer to number 2 is 7/12. Again, if you got that one wrong, there's a chance it's because you're not simplifying. So you got to review your factors. Number 3 is 3/7 times 2/3. So check this out. If I multiply my numerators, I get 2 times 3, that's 6. And if I do 7 times 3, I get 21. And 21 and 6 share a factor of 3. I'm going to divide by 3. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. And what's kind of interesting about that, and this is a good time for me to show you maybe a slightly quicker way to solve this. I want to show you something kind of interesting. My answer is 2/7, right? See that? Look at what was in the problem right here, 2 and 7. Now that's actually not a coincidence. I want to show you why. When you're multiplying fractions, you can simplify before you multiply. And here's what I mean by that. When I noticed diagonally that I had a 3 here and I had a 3 here, I could simplify those by dividing 3 by 3 is 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then I simplified the 3's out. Now I've got 1 times 2 is 2, and 7 times 1 is 7. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. I'm trying to simplify it, in fact. That's going to work really well when we get to number 5. Let's go check out number 4. Number 4 is 4/5 times 2/7. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 7 is 35. And 8 and 35 don't share a factor, which means your answer is simply 8/35. All right, we've got 2 more problems, and our problems are going to start to get, especially on number 5, our answers are going to start to get kind of large. So I really want to focus on how we could simplify ahead of time. Are you ready? Let's check this out. I might show you number 5 both ways. Maybe I'll convince you that I'm right. If you do number 5, there's kind of I think we're going to do number 5 twice. Check this out. If you do number 5 this way, 7/10 times 8/21. If you do 7 times 8 is 56, and 10 times 21 is 210, that's kind of right, but it needs to be simplified. Let me show you what you could have done for number 5. So we need to simplify. We're not even sure what to simplify by, though, is the problem. So we're not even sure what to simplify by. Let's go check out number 5. So I'm going to redo number 5 over here. Check this out. 7/10 times 8/21. Now, on a previous problem, I showed you that you could simplify diagonally. Watch this. 7 and 21 diagonally share a factor of 7. 7 goes into itself once, and 7 goes into 21 3 times. And 8 and 10 diagonally share a factor as well. 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now look at how small these numbers are. Now I have 1 times 4 is 4. And 5 times 3 is 15. Now believe it or not, that's the right answer. This number right here, 56 210ths, that simplifies all the way down to 4/15. So I hope what I just showed you, that diagonally simplifying, especially when the numbers are big, is a very valid way of multiplying fractions, and probably a little easier. Let's check out number 6 and see how easy number 6 is when you simplify at the beginning. Let's check out number 6. Go ahead and erase all of number 5. Let's check out 6 here. 6/7 times 1/6. Look diagonally and ask yourself if anything simplifies. Well, of course. 6 and 6 share a factor of 6. 6 divided by itself is 1, and 6 divided by itself is 1. So now I have 1 times 1 over 7 times 1. The answer is 1/7. It's actually a really simple way of simplifying. You simplify at the beginning, and you don't have to simplify at the end. All right, you are done with page 79 and the top of page 80. The next video will be how to do the bottom of page 80.